there, it's Lori, and I'm back with this ripple blanket. Here's a very fascinating thing. As I did more rows, it actually got wider. So it is 40 inches wide. And I have done 4 rows. I weighed the skein of yarn separate from this, and then I weighed this. The ball is a little bit lighter than it says it is. So this, 4 rows, 40 inches wide, was 30.65 grams. So what we're going to do, here's my tiny scale. I wanted you to see. I have an actual tiny scale. And then you can either use that little tray and tare, or I use the bigger tray and tare. T-A-R-E, tare. We're going to use it maybe in the second part of this video, but I wanted you to see what I was talking about. This was what I was trying to find. So here's what we're going to do. It says on the ball band that this should have 227 grams. So we're going to just do basic division. We're not going to figure out the yardage because ultimately it doesn't matter, right? So for 4 rows equals 30.65 grams. So we're going to take 227 divided by 30.65. I'm so sorry. It is such a bad thing. My students always commented on it too. I write at an angle upwards. Supposedly that means I'm some kind of optimist. But, which I am. I am a very optimistic human. It's just my nature. But I'm going to go ahead and divide that. I'm going to use my phone. And, you know, I was never one of those math teachers that said, you won't always have a calculator with you, because that was on the horizon, even in the beginning of my career. Okay. So 7, and it's about 7.4. So what this means is I can take this times 4 rows, and this is how many rows I'm going to be able to get, in theory, from one cake. Okay, in theory, from one cake. Let's see what that comes out to be. So this is a lot more than what I calculated the other day. 29.62 rows. Okay, let's see. Let's see. And that's approximate. This ball, or this cake, actually weighed just a little bit less. Half a gram, well, a little less than half a gram less than 227. So we're going to call that 29 and a half. Okay, 29 and a half rows. What's the width on this? From one cake. Okay. So where's my Winnie the Pooh? Where are you, Winnie the Pooh? There you are. All right. So measure. I was saying each row was about an inch, and I would say that's about right, because from the bottom of this valley to the top of this peak is about 4 inches. So that means 29 inches. So like I said, we're gonna round it. We're gonna call it 29.5 and round down, because I know this is a little lighter, and this is all estimated, even though this is fairly accurate. I mean, to 2 decimal places of grams, so much more accurate than that one I was using the other day. 29.5 times 2, 60, so 59. Oh, is that right? I question my head math. Yes, I was a math teacher, but my head math has never been that reliable. Yes, 59. So in theory, I have enough yarn. We're going to see if I get to 29 or 29 and a half rows with this one cake. So again, I'm at 4 rows. It's approximately 4 inches this way. Oh, wait. No, times 2 cakes. Yeah, because that's how many rows. Yeah. Because this is how many sets of 4. This would be, yeah. Okay, so if I get to 29, if I actually get that many rows, I can do it with just the 2 cakes, and I don't have to use the beeswax. So this is going to be an interesting thing to follow. I wanted to show you it changed to the green. The green, my lord, not even close. Orange? Orange is what I meant. Okay, so we have red, pink, and orange right here. So pretty. So pretty. Oh my gosh, this yarn is so soft. I always forget until I start working with it. This is why I have a borderline obsession with it. I'm going to double check this width measurement. Now I did measure it, kind of holding it up kind of vertically. Now this Pooh Bear only goes to 40 inches. Yeah, it's definitely about 40 inches. It's actually a little bit more. Is it a little bit more? But that's with hanging it. So let's see. Let's see if I go. I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. I don't want it to stretch. I want these. I might have to pull my tension in a little bit if it's more than 40. Trying to make it not so stretchy because I was holding it up in the air and gravity was pulling it. Okay, so it's about a ½ inch less. Let me put that right up. Oh, it goes to 100 centimeters. So that it goes to 1 meter. That is why on that side. But you notice 100 centimeters or a meter is approximately 39 inches, just a little bit more. So this goes to 40 inches. I'm just trying to get it accurate. Again, this is Camille's pattern, her ripple, and I am very much enjoying making it. It is going really fast now that I'm past that foundation. Yeah, so this is about somewhere between 39 and 40 inches. So I'm not over, but when I held it up, uh-oh, there. Sorry. The little nose wasn't working. I pulled it out too far. All right, so in theory, I'm gonna have enough because the max length, it can be 50, so because my width is 40. We're gonna see. Maybe I have enough yarn. And then we'll know a little more about her pattern. So with a 5-weight yarn and an 8mm hook, it might only take 960 yards to make a Boggy Creek. Now, hers was 40 by 48. Her end result, she was using a 4-weight yarn and a 6.5mm hook. And it was, it took 1,225 yards. So if I can get this in 960 yards, that's going to be amazing. Mine will be potentially smaller. I only need to get, I could get 40 by 40 and be done. So in theory, I should have no problem doing that with just the 2 cakes. We're going to see. We're going to see if I actually get 29 and a half yards out of this first cake. And if I don't, I'll have to frog all the way back to wherever this first yellow is because I have a plan if I need extra. But I need to be at the yellow. So we're going to give it a shot and we're going to see. We're going to see if the mathed correctly. If I correctly mathed using this much more accurate little scale. This one's battery operated though, so it's kind of a bummer in that it, I can't plug it in and recharge. I much prefer things that have batteries and charge if you, like batteries are the backup, if that makes sense. Anyway, so this gorgeous yarn, this gorgeous pattern. Look at that. It's going to be beautiful. All right, and it looks like I have enough yarn. All right, I'm going to show you whips now. All right, I'm here with my whips. If you saw my live on Sunday, you saw this. I did the foundation row, but now I have, as you saw in the video, I've gotten to 4 rows. Just to clarify, when I weighed it, I did take off this stitch marker. I'm going to be fascinated to see if the math worked and if that's actually going to, if 2 cakes is going to be enough yarn. Because that's only 4 rows and this cake already looks a lot smaller. I did put a post about this yarn holder so you can outside pull very easily. I very much like it. All right, that's my first whip. If you saw the live, you know about this. This one I haven't worked on in a couple weeks. This is called the Texture is Everything Crochet Along, but I need it to be a lot smaller blanket, so I'm having to adjust the number of rows. This is the completed part 1. There are 6 parts, so it's worked around and around and around. Let's see if you can see the texture. You can see the different textures there. But I really liked, instead of a granny stitch, these are crossed double crochets. And I love that. Camille, make a note of that. Do the crossed double crochets in the granny square. Just, she'll know why I'm saying her name. All right, in case I forget to tell her. All right, so there's other stitches in here, lots of different stitches. So that is one that I haven't worked on in a bit. Very cute gummy bear stitch marker. This is made with Menagerie. This Big Twist Menagerie in Gray Fox. Yes, it's green. I don't know. It's called Gray Fox though. So that one's kind of getting put aside at the moment. Again, you saw this one. That's mostly going to be worked on live, mostly, but not entirely. All right, and this one, I've gotten further. This is going to look like Mile High Stadium. That's the color scheming. That's the football field for the Denver Broncos, National Football League, the American football, we'll call it. So this one I have to have, the baby shower is the middle of October, so I have got to get this done. I'm not sure how many more rows. I finished the white, that's why I went ahead and detached it. Now, if you use a variegated yarn in this rectangular Bavarian stitch by Fiber Spider, you don't have to cut your yarn at all or change colors, but I am doing specific colors based on Mile High Stadium, the best I can to kind of represent that as well as I can. So this one's the most pressing whip. That texture is everything is the second most important. And then this one you'll see a lot of on the live. And I'm really curious, do I actually have enough with 2 of these cakes? I'm not convinced I do. I'm going to see, I'll probably do the math again at 8 or 10 rows or something like that. How about 10 rows? At 10 rows, I'm going to see where I'm at. Oh, this yarn is so soft. Okay, you all know how I feel about my Colorama Halo. Anyway, thanks to Borgana for that yarn for Boggy Creek. So that's my whips. Hopefully I have that. And then Friday I think I'm going to do the swatch to see does linked double crochet actually use less yarn than just regular double crochet. I'm curious. Ian is a weirdo said something about, yeah, because you're not yarning over, there's a good chance it actually does take less yarn. I'm wondering if I need to do a 6x6. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit bigger swatch to make sure there's an actual difference in the weight of the yarn. I'll figure out how many stitches. Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. I will use the same size hook. I will try to keep my tension. No promises there. This is why I've never entered anything into a county fair or state fair or anything, because I know my tension is inconsistent, and then I do things like I use different weight yarns with. This is all pretty standard. Okay, so this one, literally no idea what yarn that is, but it's definitely a 4-weight. The blue is Red Heart. The white is Big Twist Value. The blue is standard Red Heart Super Saver, I think. Anyway, so I'm using all the different yarns, and then that middle yarn is that bumpy yarn. And so I had to actually sew it kind of together in a way. I pulled the stitches together so that it wasn't puffing up in the middle. But now it looks pretty good. Anyway, as always, thanks for coming in. Check out Camille's challenge, because this is something else you'll see on Friday. I did her washcloth, and it's really cute. I have it all wrapped in. Why? Because I haven't woven in the end. And Camille says that's boho. Anyway, but that is for Camille's holiday challenge, which is about gifting, or about making things from all these different holidays and different lists, gifting or gift to yourself, whichever, whatever, or following her tutorials. This is her tutorial. This one I had started before the holiday challenge, and so that's not part of it. I still have Secret Tunisian to get submitted to her. What's today? Okay. I'm super close to my second one. My first one's so little, I just feel bad that that's all it was. So I'm going to try with the second one. But I have till the 30th. Yeah, I should be able to finish that, because I think I only need 2 or 3 more rows, and then it'll be good. So anyway, I apologize for that. My aunt loved the scarf that I made for my friend that's turning 70 so much that I'm going to have to make another one of those MJ's off the hook scarves. Just so you know. Yes, I am. Anyway, that's everything. And I know I've talked a long time. Thanks for coming in. And can I get an amen? Oh, this is Harriet Tubman, if you're wondering. All right. See you all later.